Hi, I'm Johnny Grixon. I'm here with my cousin Luke Savita, who is a type 1 diabetic. How has diabetes impacted your life?
It has impacted my life greatly. It taught me to be responsible and caring when it comes to my body and just making basic choices every day.
How important is it to check your blood levels?
It is extremely important because if you completely ignore that, there could be drastic consequences.
Okay. For example?
For example, when my blood sugar is low, which is called hypoglycemia, it could lead to weakness, fatigue, or passing out.
And I have witnessed Luke during hypoglycemia, and it needs to be taken care of immediately, because what you see is very dramatic.
And it occurs quickly too. Also, when my blood sugar is high, it is called hyperglycemia.
Keep going.
When my blood sugar is high, it is called hyperglycemia, where I am basically hyper and I can't control myself. I sometimes don't even know what I'm doing. That's when.
Okay, keep going. Sorry, my dog is in the room. That's why we're having complications at the moment.
Yeah.
Hyperglycemia.
When my blood sugar is high, it is called hyperglycemia, which is basically I am hyper and to the point where I can't control myself.
Keep going.
Again, when my blood sugar is high, it is called hyperglycemia, where it is basically to the point where I am hyper. It's almost uncontrollable with me and everything. So someone else has to give me insulin to bring it back down, back to the normal levels.
Is there any specific diet that you're on to keep your levels at a moderate range?
Not in particular, because if you can find out the carbohydrates in any food and treat it, you could be fine. With the exception of that, I cannot drink regular soda because it just has too much sugar in it and everything. But I can still drink diet sodas and water and milk and that basic stuff.
Have your numbers ever fell or rose drastically?
Yes, there were times when my numbers have been really low or really high, and you need to treat those rather quickly if you don't want any problems to occur.
Very good. Do you ever get tired of checking your levels?
By now, I've had this for 4 years, so I am completely used to it. It is just a basic, normal thing I do every time I eat a meal, and it doesn't take that long for me to do, so I just test my blood sugar, give insulin, and done.
Have you ever learned anything so far with having diabetes?
It has made me way more responsible, like I said earlier, because if you don't take care of yourself, problems will occur in the future, and that will just screw you up.
If there's any advice you could give to a newly diagnosed diabetic, what would it be?
Take care of yourself. It will really affect you in the long run, and you will be glad you took care of yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who is the mother of Luke?
Hello.
As a parent, how has your life changed after Luke's diagnosis?
Luke was diagnosed August 11th of 2008. It's been 4.5 years since he's had diabetes, almost 5. The day this happened, when I took him to the doctor in the morning, I had no idea what was going on, but I knew something was wrong. At that point, the doctor tested his sugar there at the office, and we were on our way to the emergency room. Next thing I know, we were admitted into Children's. I'm being told, your son's a diabetic, and I'm thinking to myself, what are you people talking about? I had no clue what it was. I had heard of diabetes and always thought, oh, that's for overweight people, people that don't take care of themselves. This is not happening to my son. Next thing you know, we were admitted. He was given insulin, IVs. I was being bombarded with all this education. I had dietitians coming in, nurses coming in, doctors coming in, specialists coming in. He was getting poked and prodded. It was just almost unbelievable. But as a parent, I had to take control of the situation and say to myself, I have to learn everything I absolutely need to know to let my child live a normal life. And that's exactly what we did. But it has changed our lives, yes, but it has not changed it either. If anything, Luke, I've never ever told Luke, you can't do anything because you're diabetic. I've never said, no, you can't eat that because you have diabetes. I've never told him, no, you can't play basketball, or you can't play a sport, or you can't go out with your friends because you have diabetes. Luke's life is the same it was before. It's just a little extra step in our daily routines that we have to do to make sure that he stays healthy.
Do you constantly worry about your son and his diabetes?
I constantly worry. I constantly worry about his diabetes. It's something that's always in the back of my mind. And when his numbers run high, I start to worry. There's many a nights, Johnny, that I get up in the middle of the night and I just get up because I think, I check on him and I look at him and I just go get his kit and I test his sugar, and he doesn't even know that I've done it because he's sleeping, because I worry, oh my God, what if he goes low at night? And there have been times when I've tested him and his sugar's been low and he's sleeping. Fortunately for Luke, any of the events that we've had like that, he's been able to wake himself up and say, hey, I don't feel good, something's not right here. But, there are times where I do have to get up in the middle of the night and check him because I just do it, or the doctors have ordered it. And there's times during the day where he'll run high all day long, and to me that panics me, because then I start to worry about, is he going to start spilling ketones? Are we going to be hyperglycemic? Is he going to give me a hard time? So then I make him recheck, and it gets tedious to him, but we get it figured out. But yes, it's a constant worry.
How often do you go to doctor's appointments about Luke's diabetes?
Luke goes every 3 months to his endocrinologist down at Children's Hospital, and at that time when we go, he gets his A1C checked every time. And his A1Cs have been great so far. His numbers have come down to a great level. His target blood sugar is 120, and he's been really well at maintaining that. The doctor's appointments are very important because as a teenager, Luke is growing, and he's growing very rapidly. So with these changes, obviously he's going to need insulin changes. So those are the key there. And when he's there, they do the full checkup. They check his eyes, they check his feet, they check everything that's important related to diabetes. Once a year, when we have our annual appointment, they do draw a bigger blood draw, where they screen for all types of different things that a normal 14-year-old boy wouldn't get when they go to their doctor. They check his cholesterol, they check for all these different types of things that, like I said, you one can think about at your age having to get done because it's not necessary. But we do go every 3 months, and he sees his doctor.
And you mentioned A1C. What is A1C?
The A1C is a number, it's a blood sugar level number. When you test your sugar levels, you always hear people say anywhere between 80 and 120 might be the normal range. An A1C is a number that's based on, they prick his finger and they put it into this machine that analyzes his blood. And that's on a chart that they show us there at the doctor's office. And that basically is like an overall, I can tell where his levels have been in the past 3 months. It's like an overall view of his sugars. And whether that elevates or goes down determines to them, should we need to increase or decrease insulin, where do we need to make the adjustments.
If there's any advice you could give to a newly diagnosed diabetic's parents, what would it be?
Take this seriously. It's a very serious disease. It breaks your heart. It's very hard. In the beginning, I was going through denial. I would get up and I'd be like, okay, today's the day. It's going to just go away. And it didn't. And I've been waiting for 4 years, thinking every day, and I still to this day sometimes wake up and think, it's going to go away, and it's still here. But as far as parental advice, stay on your kids, even if you feel like you're nagging them. And there's been times where Luke has been frustrated with me, but in the end he realizes, and he's learned some very important lessons along the way, especially with him growing. Like I said, mentioning being a teen, you mentioned in your earlier interview going on a basketball tournament where you guys spent a night away from me, and I can't be there. He needs to know, in 4 years he's going to go off to college. He needs to know how to manage his disease. I've tried to teach Luke how he's got to count his carbohydrates, how to read the labels on the packages of food, and the importance of testing and knowing what he needs to do. But, you know, as a parent, you stay on your child, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and have faith. It's not, I always tell Luke, you have diabetes. Diabetes does not have you.
Thank you.